to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is COLM for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined by the bomber herself, Ebanie Bridges. Ebanie, how are you keeping? It's been a long time.
I know it feels like forever since I've done an interview, like even on Zoom or whatever. But no, it's good. Things have been good. The last 2 months or so since my fight have gone really fast. Yeah.
I think we'll firstly get into that fight because that was a real test for you in terms of this was someone that really, I don't want to say got under your skin because maybe that would be the wrong terminology, but there was a lot of beef there and you settled it. You settled it in the best fashion possible. Talk to me about the lead up to that fight and obviously after that fight and the feelings that you had after.
I mean, the lead up, like, I just, I didn't really get that emotionally invested in her. As I said, I never talked about her, until the fight was signed and made, but she'd been talking and slagging me off for like 2 years, like calling me out and talking shit, so she was like really invested in me, but I just wasn't really phased, but obviously when a fight gets signed and you start making money, you're like, you know what, well, obviously I want to build the fight and I'll give her, attention now because I'm getting paid. I just know that when I talk about someone, look, my cat's playing the piano. Gracie, sorry, she just jumped on the piano. No, sorry, just like that. Yeah. So I thought that I would, obviously bring to attention a little bit of, the shit she's been saying, so people can get a little bit of insight because no one had heard of her. So I thought, well, this is exactly how she is, when she tried to twist it. It was almost like she was talking into the mirror, to be fair, because she said a lot of things about me that were just her, to be fair. And she tried to make me out to be bad in that fight week build up with all the little interviews. And I just stayed cool and calm because I know the truth. I knew that I would beat her. I knew the kind of person she was. I knew the kind of fighter she was. And I was very, very confident I was going to beat her. Yeah, so it just kept me really cool. And I just thought she's just emotional. She's so emotional. She gets really emotional in fights. All previous fights I've seen her get emotional in the ring. And even just at the presser and the weigh-ins, just the stuff she was saying. Everything was just giving me more and more confidence that she was just breaking. And then I knew that she wouldn't be able to handle that crowd, and she wouldn't be able to, because she was underestimating me so much. And like I said in the build-up, I'm going to shock Shannon O'Connor. I'm going to shock her because when they underestimate you so much, when you hit them, and you keep coming, or when they hit you and you keep coming, they're not prepared because they didn't think like that. I always prepare myself for the toughest fight. I spoke highly of Shannon. I knew she was going to be tough. I knew she was going to be strong and she was going to be determined. But I was ready and prepared for all of that mentally and physically. And yeah, I suppose it was a really great feeling to be able to prove her wrong and just in all her little fanboys and girls that just dismissed me because of what she'd said. And it was a good feeling. It's probably obviously it's the sweetest win of my career, and I think it really will still be the sweetest win of my career, just because she was just a horrible human. And she tried to expose me, as in trying to make out that I was just a Instagram boxer and just a blow-in, as in someone that just is coming in that won't last long in the sport and I don't take it seriously and I'm a skanky stripper and all these things. So to be able to come in and really just throw that in her face, I suppose, it was really satisfying. And I said at the beginning that, and I said it from the beginning, I think I said it to you, that I would take Shannon Courtney out for dinner before even giving this girl anything, you know, because she makes Shannon and Courtney look like an angel because she's just horrible. And we've seen that at the end when they announced me as a winner. She stuck a rear finger up and called Sky Nicholson a slut. Like, I mean, your true colors come out. You know, you can't fake it. And yeah, so yeah, that was satisfying.
We see a lot of grudges in boxing, and we all often see them not put to bed, but we see fighters embrace at the end of a fight. There wasn't really that between you and Shannon. Have you had any contact with each other since you fought?
No, not at all. I have no respect for her. Just because I shared the ring with her, I don't have any. It doesn't give me any respect for her as a human, as a person. There was definitely more respect between me and Shannon and Courtney. She was just horrible. You know, I went up to her corner after the fight, and you know, as you do, and her son said, fuck off, cunt," like this to me. You know, she got stopped. Like, mate, you got battered. Like, let's have some humble pie. Like, you know what I mean? She it's just her person, you know, and I can't give someone respect. It's that is disrespectful and horrible human. Doesn't, just because I've shared the ring with someone doesn't make me go, oh, you're an all right person. Like, well done. No, like, no, I'm not like that. I respect her for all she's done, and I said that in the whole build up. I respect her for everything she's done in Australian boxing, women's boxing in Australia. She's been around for a long time. But I don't respect her as a fighter. I don't really. I mean, she was tougher than I thought. I honestly thought I was going to stop her in the first 5 rounds. So at least, she was very tough. But yeah, that's about as far as the respect goes. She's not said anything to me. She's not congratulated me or reached out to me or anything. I know she put out a statement not long after fight, but she didn't put it out. Her managers did, because they put out exactly the same thing. So it was a bit of a copy and paste. But yeah, that's it. You know, she's disappeared now. No one's, you know, she hasn't posted. She's disappeared off the planet, and that's what I said I'd do. I said I'd retire her, and I'll say it again here that out of her whole career, the highlight will be that she got stopped by the blonde bomber. So now she can talk about that in her heyday, that she got to share the ring with Ebanie Bridges. So good on her.
Obviously, not a lot of people know, but you did go into that fight carrying injuries.
Oh yeah.
For the last few fights, actually, you've went in carrying injuries, and I think that's been a telling tale of your career, because in your debut, I believe you broke your ankle, or your leg and stuff, and you carry on. But I wanted to really make this point, because you've actually taken some time out of the ring now since December, as you would, but you've had surgery. How has that been for you? What's that process been like? Because you actually went into this fight in December, having prepared for a fight as early as June maybe, and it didn't happen. Then it's September and it didn't happen, and then it's December. Talk me through that whole period of time.
Yeah, so you know, I won my world title in March. And then, you know, I was talking to Eddie, and obviously Eddie said that he wants to get me out in summer again, because, you know, that was the beginning of the year. So it's expected that I would fight in like at least 4 months, right? But by that point, I wasn't living in the UK. And I made my decision after my world title fight that I needed to live over here. So I went home for a month or so. As you know, people who follow my story, you know, like went over home for a month, broke up with my boyfriend, told my family I was going to move to the UK in 4 weeks, packed up all my shit and rushed back to the UK, because Eddie said I was going to fight in summer, and I wanted to start my camp. You know, I got over here in I think it was June, you know, so I was like, I need to be here because Tibbs is my coach now, and I wanted a solid 8 weeks of training. So as soon as I touched down base, like here in the UK, I was straight into camp, because, you know, stay ready, and, you know, you don't know when the fight opportunity is going to come. And Eddie kept saying summer. So that's June. That was June. July, August. Then that obviously didn't eventuate. You know, that didn't come. So then it was like, okay, you're fighting in September. Then we had that fight locked down in September, like the date, the opponent, everything. Like, well, like, you know, in July, you know, the other girl was prepping for it. You know, it was locked in, and then all this stuff started happening with Shannon. You know, and the IBF all of a sudden ordering me, wanting me to fight my mandatory in 6 months. They were trying to get me to fight Shannon in September, but they couldn't settle. You know, we couldn't settle the purses and everything like that. And I think I'm like one of the only IBF pros that's BD champion and has to defend with their mandatory in 6 months. Yeah, like it didn't make any sense. Anyways, it was just all a mess. I'm not going to go into details, but yeah, so obviously I found out 10 days before the September fight, because we did the purse bids, that I wasn't able to, that IBF weren't going to grant me a voluntary before fighting Shannon O'Connell. So then I had to go straight to the fight next week. You know, when it came down to it, we said, well, we got to fight in, you know, we've got to fight in 10 days. Like, here, come over here and fight if you're ready. Oh, no. And they didn't want to do it. So the next available date and ideal realistic date was, I think, December, obviously the Leeds fight. So then, yeah, that just pushed my camp out even longer. So yeah, I'd been in camp since June, you know, really, dieting and training. And I think that's why my body started breaking down as well by that fight in December. You know, obviously my hand, it was like 4 weeks of that fight. I think it was like, you know, in the last 6 weeks, there was 4 weeks that I was not able to use my right hand at all. I was doing just lead hand sparring with, like, you know, with Lucy, you know, Stevie, like everyone that was sparring was all lead hand sparring. So I wasn't using my backhand, only on the pads with one hand. It got a little bit better, obviously, towards the end of my camp. And then I sent you the video of my back. In my last spar, my back collapsed. I haven't put that out yet, actually. Maybe I'll send it to you and you can put it on this video. Anyway, so like my last spar was like 10 days out of my fight. My back just collapsed, and in sparring, I was like, I don't know, it was so weird. It just went to a spasm and collapsed. And then I couldn't train from like the Wednesday before my fight, like 2 weeks out. I think the first time I trained was the public workout. I had to just not train. I couldn't even put my shoes on. So I had to get dressed. You know, Mike was telling me, do you want to pull out? Do you want to pull out? You know, obviously people are carrying, like, you can't go into a fight like this, like your back, your hand, everything's fucked. And I'm like, I'm not like pulling out of this fight. I'm fighting this girl, like, unless I literally can't walk. Like, it was only going to be, say, for example, after I'd weighed in and everything, if I still really couldn't move, then yeah, okay, you know, but I was waiting till the last minute because I didn't want to pre-ejaculate and pull out and then be okay. You know, I got physio and I got, you know, treatment on my back and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, thankfully by public workout, it was feeling a little bit better. But still, definitely, when I was warming up and getting ready, it was still very hard for me to bend over and stuff. But luckily in boxing, we don't bend over to touch your toes. You know, you do that and other things. So I was okay for that movement, for the boxing movement. But yeah, that kind of played with my head a little bit going into the fight. Not going into it, but those last 2 weeks, because you're supposed to be feeling your peak. You're supposed to be feeling really good those last 2 weeks if you can. Like, that's when you're peaking. You're like, yeah, I'm good. And then I started getting like anxious, and Jimmy, like, I was freaking out. I was talking to Jimmy, and Jimmy was reassuring me, like, you've done all the work, Ebanie, you've done it all. Like, it's be fine, even if you don't train for these next 10 days. Like, you're going to be fine. You're fit. You know, you've done it all. And that's, you know, obviously listening to the experience of Jimmy and Mark Tibbs, you know, that obviously reassured me. So yeah, I just went in there and just said, look, you know what, I'm good enough to beat this girl with one hand anyways. So yeah.
When are we likely to see you back then in the ring? You've had the surgery, you're feeling good, you're starting back training. When are we likely to see you back? Have you spoke to Eddie about this?
I actually haven't talked to Eddie. I've just taken time out. I've been MIA. People would notice on my socials and just in general around boxing. I took a good solid month off and just took a break from everything. I haven't done any business. I haven't done any really social media, nothing really, because I needed the R&R and I needed to switch off because last year was really intense. So I haven't talked to Eddie, but obviously my surgeon and my hand therapist our goal is to be back sparring by May. So that means like full contact. Obviously, if I can spar, I can hit pads and stuff by May. And that, you know, obviously from there we do a camp. So, you know, 8 weeks or whatever from there. So, you know, I'm hoping July, August, as long as once I start punching, you know, I can start punching in a couple of weeks, like noodles, just like low impact, you know, the floor to ceiling bag, maybe some paddles in a couple more weeks. And then, you know, start with the pads and all that. And obviously got to build up and build my strength and do all my physio and strength work. I was about to do that, but that's not that action. Yeah, sorry. But I'm so silly. Sorry. Doing a lot of strength work with my hands. So I guess nice and strong. And the more I do, the better. So I'm working on that. That's my main priority now. And just trying to keep my weight down, obviously.
So tell me this: is is it likely that we'll see you on a Josh Warrington card this summer in Leeds? It looks like it's going to be a stadium fight potentially. Wood Warrington, Warrington Lara. Is that the Ebony Bridges comeback?
See my
Likely?
face. I mean, look, it could be, but I don't want to be like Josh Warrington, where I only fight in Leeds. I am not. I am a Leeds fan, but I'm global. Do you know what I mean? I'm global. I'm national. I'm bigger than Leeds. Like as in, you know, I don't need to be just in one city. Yeah, I've got all my fans there, but I've got so many fans down here in London. Do you know what I mean? I've got fans in Ireland. I've got fans in America. Do you know what I mean? And I want to fight around the country, around the world. And I feel like I love my Leeds fans, but I also like Josh need to get used to not fighting with that huge chanting support behind me. I mean, I think I will still have it wherever I go. It won't be the same lead songs and stuff like that, but it will still be big. I know that I have a big fan base, and I'll pull a crowd wherever I go. I'd like to experience fighting in London, as I live down here in Essex, down south, and I know I have a lot of support down here, so that would be great. And I'd like to fight in America. So personally, for me, you know, my next two fights I would like to fight down south in down south around here in London or over in America. And obviously that's something I talked to about with Eddie. But you know, I won't say no to a stadium fight in Leeds. I do love Leeds, and I'll never ever not want to fight in Leeds. I'll never be like, I'll never fight in Leeds. Go, oh, we shouldn't fight in Leeds. You know what I mean? Or be like, oh, that was shit. Like it's never, ever, ever, ever. But I think if I had the option, I've done all my fights in front of fans, so outside of COVID, have been in Leeds, and I just want to test waters. I want to see my fans outside of Leeds. So you know, and I'm sure a lot of Leeds fans will come down to see me. You know, night out in London won't kill them.
Obviously, being Aussie, Eddie's starting this whole thing with Matchroom Australia. It looks, you know, with Stevie Sparks, Sky Nicholson, Liam Parrow. There's a lot of Australian stars there along with yourself. Is there an opportunity or a chance that we might see you in Australia, or are you past that because you've moved over to the UK? You don't want to fight there, or are you open to it?
Not anytime soon. I've made myself a goal and my own personal goal that I won't return back to Australia until 2025 when I'm undisputed. So I don't really have a plan to fight over there unless it's to fight for undisputed or to defend an undisputed title. So yeah, I don't really. Yeah, it doesn't excite me until I've got all the belts, and that's what I want to do. I want to go back there and take an undisputed women's fight back to Australia.
You're an eager boxing fan. You're actually very, very good pundit. You speak a lot about boxing with people, and
Yeah.
almost every weekend you text me about a fight. To be fair to you, so you're always clued in with boxing. But I want to get your opinion on a couple of things. So first of all, I want to get your opinion on the tag team boxing at the weekend. You have a stablemate in Elbrook that was there at that event that you've told me how good she is, and you think that
Yeah.
she beats any of those in that scene. First of
Yeah.
all, talk to me about tag team boxing, and then after that, give me a bit of an opinion on Elle and what you think she can do in that side of the sport.
I mean, look, tag team boxing is like it's WWE. It's not real. Like it's not. It's a whole nother thing. It's not boxing. It's tag team boxing. It's another thing. Like, for me, it just reminds me of WWE wrestling with a bit more real, obviously, because actually really hitting someone. Not that wrestling's not real, like to a degree. You know what I mean? Like they like do some mad moves, but it's a circus. It's a bit of a circus. It's a bit of an entertainment thing. It's a bit of and that's all that the influence in boxing is. It's in entertainment. It's novice boxers who are theatrical. You know what I mean? So it's like the characters from WWE. They're theatrical. They put it on. They don't go in there like just calm and whatever. It's all a show. You know what I mean? And it's all about the show and the theatrics and how can they shock people and how can they get views and I think that that tag team thing, like it was a bit like this guy that I don't know, one's team was just tagging out all the time. Like, I mean, if it was me, like I put out a tweet, I'm saying I wouldn't fucking tag no one. I'd be like, I want to be beating this person. Like, you know, I can get it for like novice people that might get a bit gassed out and tired. They're like, oh, I need a break. You know what I mean? But obviously, and that's what they are. I don't think any really experienced boxers would do it. Well, I mean, obviously, if the money's right, you'd do it, wouldn't you? But it would be hard for me to think, oh, yeah, I want to stop now and let the other guy in. I'll be like, hell no, I'm enjoying battering this person. You know what I mean?
What about
people...
Elbrook? Would you do a
tag
team with Elle?
Yeah, they'd have to pay me. I think because I was my mate, like it might be a little bit fun to do that. But I don't know. I don't know, like
You and Elle
it's
Brooke
hard.
against Shannon, Courtney, and Astrid Webb. That is the fight. That's
Oh
it.
yeah, true. That's mega money though. I mean, obviously it was good money. Again, it's just it's for it's not even boxing, it's entertainment. So it'd be like me. I'd have to look at that like it's some kind of not no charity thing, but do you know what I mean? Like just something like me going and playing a charity football match. Like it's not realistic. It's not, it's just a bit of fun. It's kind of like just a bit of fun, like what you do with your mates. But I could just imagine the headlines of it, Elle Brooke and Ebony Bridges doing tag team. Like, I mean, that would sell for sure. But
What do
look,
you
I
think of
mean,
her as a boxer?
I got to, yeah. Oh, mate, like she so far. Like she's not even been boxing or not even put on a pair of gloves for a year yet. And she's already further than I was when I was a year in. Do you know what I mean? And she's so young and she's such an avid learner. She works really, really hard. She's so dedicated, disciplined. She works in the gym every day. She has been since she first put on gloves. Every single day she's in there, she's working, she's trying, she's learning, she's asking questions. You know, I love teaching her because she's just like a sponge. To do anything you say, like you tell her what to do, she does it. It's like playing a video game. Like honestly, like she reminds me so much of me. But she started at 25 and I started at 30. Do you know what I mean? So she's got um a, a long life in boxing. You know what I mean? I truly believe, like I said in my tweet, she batters all those girls. Like she doesn't have a pez neck, like snaps back like that. She's very strong. Um, she's got all the attributes, but she's still just she is a novice, but she's a decent novice. Like I said, she's she does some things and she's harder than a lot of the girls. Like most of the girls I've aspired the pro. She just has to gain that experience, and she just needs to use this what's it called, influencer boxing stage to build her experience like a normal person would in the amateurs or in a white collar boxing scene, because that's exactly what it is. And you got to just remember that's where she is. It's like, forget pro, she's not a pro. She's like practically like a white collar or an amateur boxer that's just learning the craft, but she's getting paid mega for it because of who she is and the graft that she's put in her own career. You know what I mean? Like all of them, they're all just learning because they're not experienced because that's not their thing, right? But if she continues what she's doing and she can get enough experience there, I think it would be good for her to, when she crosses over, she could be. I really think she could be. She could be something big. In real in the real world of real boxing world. Just because I've seen her progress and she's legit, like she's disciplined. It's like why? It's like you'd never go into a gym or you'd never go to an amateur fight and go and look at them be so shit and go, oh my god, they're so shit. They should just quit. Like, how dare they get in there and look like that? Like how dare they disrespect the sport by getting in the ring when you can't even box like a professional? Like, how dare they? Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's what it's like. Like, you're literally looking at novice boxers. Yeah, I mean, look, they are famous and they are putting themselves out there. They're not in some, little shack like boxing, getting their experience, but they're also getting paid mega to be vulnerable to it. Do you know what I mean? And that's just how I look at it. And same with that Jake Paul. He's not, obviously he's not that much more, like, I mean, obviously, what's his name? Tommy has a lot more experience over the years of being around boxing and boxing for a long time. But as for fight wise, actually, as in the pros, there's not much more difference in the experience. But Jake Paul was pretty humble with it. He's like, yeah, I lost, like, yeah, I fucked up, like, I can do better, and I'm just learning. I'm still learning. And he knows he's learning because he's novice. He's not pretending. He's not, he says things because he's smart to get people to talk. He knows what he's doing. You talk shit to get people coming in, and all these boxers and all these boxing fans fall for it, and they will complain about it, and they just retweet and tweet everything and hate on him. But what are you doing? You're spreading the word of Jake Paul. Like, he's so smart. I respect that. I don't think Jake Paul will ever be able to be a world champion or anything like that. I mean, I think Elle Brooke could be, but I don't think Jake Paul could ever be. Again, he's a bit too old, and he's a male. This is a bit harder in the males. Mind you, we have a lot of good women coming up as well. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it all.
Ebony, every
tag
time
team.
every time we speak, it goes in so fast. Can you believe it's already nearly 30 minutes we've been talking? So I don't want to keep you on for too much longer because I know you've got to go and train. But I do want to ask you one final question. I want your opinions on Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron. Tell me how you think that fight goes, and do you think it'll actually happen?
I hope it happens. Chantal deserves that fight. I think Chantal's just too strong for Katie Taylor. I think she's going to be too strong, too relentless. I think Chantal wins. I don't know if she'll knock her out because we know Katie Taylor has a great chin, but I just think that I think that Chantal gets that fight. And I kind of have no doubt in that. Chantal can do it all. And she's really, really strong. She's relentless, got great combos. She can box forward, she can box on the front foot, she can sit in a pocket and bang. Do you know what I mean? And she has variety in her punches, I think which Katie Taylor lacks. And Katie Taylor would have to come up, obviously, I would assume, because I don't and that's what Katie Taylor said. She got up. It's about time Katie Taylor stepped outside of her division. She's achieved everything in her division. She's been undisputed for that long. You know what I mean? Like, good, like, challenge yourself and go up a weight, do that to challenge yourself. And I think that's where Katie's at, and she wants to do that. She wants to challenge herself. So why not? I think it's great, and I look forward to that fight if it happens, and I do hope it happens. You know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't, that's just like making women's boxing like men's boxing. We're all scared to fight each other because that fight, apparently the girls are both happy to fight each other. So then people are going to stop her. Their promoters saying, no, I don't want you to fight them because you might lose. Like, we're not men, we're women. We don't care. Let us fight.
Well, Ebanie, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Good to see you back healthy and ready to get back in the ring. So hopefully we'll catch up again soon. But great having you on AFL TV. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.